Okay, good morning, everybody. It is 10 o'clock. I'll go ahead and start getting started. There's still some people logging on and coming in, so I'll take my time introducing myself and remember to introduce myself this time. Again, thank you for coming to our live briefing from the National Weather Service in Spokane. Today is Monday, July 8th. My name is Charlotte Dewey. I'm the warning coordination meteorologist here in Spokane. You all should be placed in mute mode. If you do have a question, feel free to chat it in the question box. I may not see it until the very end, so I apologize if I don't get to that until the very end. But at the end, I can unmute everybody and you can raise your hand and speak out and ask a question if you need to. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Make sure my slides are advancing. Okay. And I should add, I am recording this, so at the very end, I will compile the slides. If I need to update anything or change the graphic, I can do that, but I'll send out the slides and the recording at the end of this webinar. So last time we talked last week with our live briefing, we've sent out several partner emails. Since then, we continue to be in this long duration heat wave with dangerously hot temperatures, and we're expecting that to continue through midweek before we do expect some level of cooling. Not very much, but there will be a little bit of level of cooling. But we are seeing that major to locally extreme heat risk through midweek, and then we drop down slowly from moderate to locally major heat risk. With this also comes critical fire weather conditions, and we do have some fire weather products in effect, and I will touch on that in just a little bit. We do have some active wildfires in the Cascades, one near Lake Chelan called the Pioneer Fire. It is producing some smoke and haze, so if you were probably closer to that region, you'll see it. Smoke isn't coming too far east, but we are seeing locally some air quality sensors picking up some of that haze. And then for the rest of the week, we do have elevated to critical fire weather conditions through midweek as we start to see those sustained winds increase through later in the week. So taking a look at our weather risk outlook, you can see the first part of the week is very colored with the major and extreme heat and fire weather conditions for most of the region. And then from Thursday through next weekend, we drop down in risk outlook to moderate, with some places like the Camas Prairie, Clearwater region remaining in the major category for heat. Like I said, we do see some cooling, but not a lot in the way of cooling for relief. So we showed this last time, focusing on the first 3 days. That's when we're expecting our hottest temperatures through before we start to see that cool down. And for many places, this means several days of triple-digit temperatures. This graphic is showing the potential or the records and the years that those took place as the small numbers below the big number. So for example, Bonners Ferry has 97 forecast today, with their record being 99 set back in 2007. And then the graphic on the right showing those forecast low, the overnight temperatures, and those are remaining very warm through the first part of the week before we start to see some relief for some areas across the area. And then moving into the headlines, we'll start with the heat. Right now, most of Washington, North Idaho, and Northern Oregon has a smattering of heat advisories, excessive heat warnings. And then once you get down into more south Oregon, you have excessive heat watch in effect. And all of these products for Washington, North Idaho are in effect through Wednesday. And I did include a snapshot of some of our normal high and low temperatures for some select locations, just to give you a perspective. I'll talk a little bit about how abnormal we're seeing temperatures. But for Spokane, Pullman, Wenatchee, those normal daytime temperatures are in the mid to upper 80s, and the normal overnight temperatures are in those actually low to mid 50s and some low 60s. So starting with our heat risk for today and tomorrow, most of our area has that major red coloring across the area. Still some pockets of orange with the moderate heat risk, and we do start to see a little bit of influence of the magenta, that extreme heat risk for today. Tuesday and Wednesday, again, are going to be our hottest days, with more of that extreme heat risk creeping into more population areas. And then by Wednesday, it's kind of a smattering here and there that the extreme heat risk is in some places. Meanwhile, some places are trimming back to that major and moderate, just depending on the timing of the wind influence and that cooler temperatures as the ridge is moving farther east. But the bottom line is it's still going to be very hot Wednesday. You should still take precaution. The heat risk is going to be elevated. And this type of heat, we've been in many days of this long duration heat risk. And no matter what the high temperature is, it's going to affect everyone to some degree. So if you don't have cooling, if you don't have hydration, you're going to be impacted the most. So we encourage everybody to find a way to get cooling relief and get some hydration. So talking about how abnormal the high temperatures are, this graphic, I'm not sure if the animation is going to play very well through the live briefing, but it's going through and showing the duration of the temperatures from starting from today, going through the entire week. It's showing how abnormal the temperatures are, how much above normal. Monday, it has these temperatures 20 to 30 degrees above normal. And then throughout the week, we drop down to 20 degrees and then about 10 degrees by next weekend above normal for the high temperatures. Given all of this, the outlook for the coming 6 to 10 day period, we do have high odds of warmer than normal temperatures and slightly elevated odds of drier than normal. So we're still remaining under this high probability of above normal temperatures and lower probabilities of below normal precipitation. So hot and dry. We don't have any precipitation in the coming forecast. So by Wednesday, that's when we're starting to see the pattern change a little bit. The two graphics here, the upper left is the sustained wind forecast. The bottom right is the wind gust forecast. And it's just a snapshot in time showing the sustained winds on Wednesday are going to increase to about 10 to 15 miles per hour during the day into the evening. And then the wind gusts are going to be that 25 to 35 mile an hour wind gust. And so this is when we're starting to see that ridge of high pressure move east, flattening out, and we're starting to get more influence from this west and southwest wind. And the humidity values are going to be similar. They're going to be pretty low in that 5 to 15% range during the day Wednesday, and they'll recover a little bit Wednesday night. But the bottom line is we're starting to see these conditions that are conducive for the elevated fire weather conditions pattern. I threw this in last minute, so I'll have to edit some of the text details on the right side, but I know the question's going to come up about the wind speeds and whose wind speed is going to be highest and what the wind speeds are going to be. So I can add more cities to this later on, but the bottom line is Wednesday and Thursday, we're starting to see these sustained wind speeds greater than 20 miles an hour across the Columbia Basin from Wenatchee, Moses Lake, Spokane area, even into the Palouse. We're starting to see increasing odds that we'll have wind speeds, sustained wind speeds, 15 to 20 miles per hour. So I just picked 20 miles per hour for a starting point. Wednesday, Thursday, the winds do back off a little bit Friday and Saturday, but we are still seeing, Wenatchee area, even Moses Lake has a couple percentage chance there for the winds to be elevated in the coming days for late this week. So talking fire weather, our headlines right now for fire weather, we have a red flag warning out today, Monday and Tuesday, for portions of the Cascades, and that's the map there with the pink coloring. We have some critical fire conditions across those portions of the Washington Cascades where the humidities are very low in the single digits to teens and with poor overnight recovery. So it's not increasing in humidity overnight. So and we do have some ongoing fires there in the Cascades right now. And then moving ahead into Wednesday, I talked about that, when the ridge breaks down, we do have a fire weather watch out right now. And this includes part of the central Washington, so from the Okanagan Valley south through south central Washington down to Pasco, Walla Walla area. And that's where we're going to see those sustained winds, 10 to 20 miles an hour, the gusts 25 to 35, and then afternoon humidity drop down to the single digits and teens. So we're being alert, we're being aware, the confidence is increasing that we'll start to see those elevated fire weather conditions. And the fuels this time of year are they're more cured and ready to go. So if there's any ignitions, the conditions are there to carry fire. So we're just trying to be aware and keep things updated for you all. And then I mentioned the smoke and air quality. We are seeing some smoke, some hazardous to unhealthy air quality up in the Chelan, Lake Chelan area, and that's where that wildfire is. So we do continue to keep an eye on the air quality conditions there. Like I said, you'll get a copy of all these slides. We're including some of the heat safety graphics and tips, just reminding people to take a break, find a location with air conditioning, find some hydration, take care of yourself, check on your pets, your elderly, your kids, anybody that may not have access to proper hydration or cooling. They're going to be most susceptible, and that's who we want to check on and make sure and keep track of and keep an eye out for them. And then this one we're including as well, just a reminder of the differences between heat exhaustion and heat stroke, symptoms and health impacts we tend to see after prolonged heat events. Okay, so the summary here, again, we have high confidence for this long duration heat wave to continue through about Wednesday. And then we have high confidence that temperatures will cool Thursday, but again, they're going to remain above normal through the weekend, still remaining very warm. The graphic I showed kind of in the beginning has the forecast temperatures out through this weekend, and the temperatures aren't going to change a lot from Wednesday to Thursday, but we could see a cool down of 5 to 7 degrees. But then into the weekend, we're going to kind of trickle back up a little bit and still remain pretty warm. We do have the critical fire weather conditions through midweek for the Cascades for Monday and Tuesday, and then through central and eastern Washington Wednesday. With beyond that, we are looking at elevated fire weather conditions into next weekend, but we don't have any products out yet. And that's all I have for the briefing. So let me stop the recording